Have you ever gone through a period of your life feeling displaced? Feeling like you don't belong anywhere and all spaces you try to occupy feel strange and uncomfortable? Well, that's where I was for the past year or so. This, my friends, is the reason for my silence. What I didn't realize while in that season was that I was going through a change. Internally, I was changing. I was transforming and becoming a new person. Isn't it funny that only when you look back, that's when you see the strides you were taking, or that's where you see God's hand through all the changes? Looking back, that season had me feeling confused and displaced. The things I used to like, I didn't like anymore. The things that used to pique my interest didn't interest me anymore. All excitement for specific things were dull and boring. Things I had energy for, I didn't have energy for anymore. That was inevitably the seat of my displacement. It seemed like a new person was fighting to come out. But crazy enough, there was also the old Zoe that just did not know what was going on and where she fit in all the equation. However, even through all this, I had the wisdom to choose to surrender to that process. Most times when we feel uncomfortably displaced, we want to fill it with something. We want to fight it and distance ourselves as far away as possible, or even numb it. By nature, we never want to be uncomfortable or exist in a space of not knowing what comes next or what's even going on right now. But I decided to intentionally lean in and surrender to that ghetto season, child. And I swear that was the best decision of my life. Stick around to see how.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or maybe I should welcome myself back to my channel. It's been such a long time, and if you made it to this video, wow, thank you. I know I've been AWOL, and it's really appreciated that you're here. There's a few things that I actually learned about going through change, and I'm hoping to share them with you today. Okay, before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please do the right thing and subscribe. And I know you're gonna like the content here, and if you really truly do like the content, hit the like button. And just share with me if you have ever gone through any changes that left you confused and how you dealt with it, you know. So these are the lessons that I got from this change that I went through. First of all, when you start dealing with a place where you feel like you are changing, like I said, it comes with displacement, it comes with confusion, and it comes with discomfort. Naturally, human beings don't want to deal with a place that comes with discomfort. We want to be comfortable all the time. We want to know what's happening all the time. But for me, the lessons that I learned, the first one is that you need to surrender. Don't run from it. And sometimes we even like to lull it by using maybe external things. Some people maybe will party a lot, or you just want to be social and run away from yourself and be in different spaces a lot instead of sitting with it and, you know, dealing with it. So don't run from it. Surrender to the process of change. If, like, for me, it started with being in certain spaces and I'm like, actually, I don't like being here. This space doesn't make me comfortable. Or, you know, I don't like this conversation. This conversation actually makes me uncomfortable. I don't like maybe how a certain person is dealing with someone, or maybe the conversation is just filled with gossip, or, you know, someone is just pretty negative all the time. That's how it started for me. I was like, I don't know about being here. I don't know about being in the space. Obviously, I didn't say it out loud. I, was dealing with it internally. So I surrendered to it. Like, instead of forcing a conversation, I just keep quiet, or if I'm getting invited to a place I don't want to be in, I decline and, say I'm doing something else. If I sound very nasally, it's because I had some infection that I got, I don't know how, and I was just coughing and it came with congestion. So the coughing is sort of gone and the last thing that's left is the congestion, and this is why I sound so nasally. So yeah, bear with me. And so I suggest not running. There's no point to it. Deal with where you're trying to be. And I also feel like, when change comes, it's as a result of all the information you've been accumulating over the past years of your life. It's an accumulation. I feel like there's a wisdom that you keep on gaining each year. You get to understand people, you get to understand yourself, you get to pick up on situation. And all of that adds up. And it brings you into a place where by now you can't deny what you know because of the information that you've been gathering. And I believe that's actually called wisdom. At some point you gain wisdom and you realize, okay, some certain things don't make sense because of the experience I've been through and I've been in. And so this is how I feel about the situation with all the information that I've gathered and the wisdom that I've had. So I feel like surrender to it. Let it come to you. Let it overwhelm you. Think about things. If for the first time in your life you're like, my friends are always gossiping, and you're like, I don't want to gossip anymore, communicate that and say, hey guys, how about we just stop talking about people? Because at the same time, people make mistakes, people are different. Or you can simply say, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. And so that's the space I found myself in. That it's better to just surrender to the process. It's taking you to a better place, becoming wiser and knowledgeable. The second thing it brings me to is actually coming from my first point, isolate. Like I said, this phase in your life comes with a whole lot of confusion, and trust me, in that confusion, you don't want to be dealing with people who will confuse you, or you will confuse, or you don't want to be making decisions that come out of that confusion. So I believe you need to isolate, and that's exactly what I did. I isolated a lot. I didn't become a hermit and isolate all the way, because there were times where I'd spend some time with some of my friends, I'd spend time with family, but that was limited compared to how I normally go about my life. Sometimes we overlook the fact that isolation also comes with staying away from social media. Social media is uncanny because you're thinking, oh, I'm not physically out, but you are virtually out. So also that you cut down on that so that you can be able to understand what you're dealing with and what you're going through. During this phase for me, I actually made a decision to lean more into Christ. God is the well of wisdom. And I thought, with me going through this change, how am I going to navigate it if I don't lean into Christ? So I leaned in more to God's word, hearing what the Spirit has to say to me, what the Spirit needs to teach me, where I am. And I actually realized in that moment that I was actually being prepared for all the things that I prayed for. Because I'm a firm believer, especially when I read the word, that God doesn't say no to the prayers that you ask for. God actually prepares you for where He's trying to take you. So I feel like that's where I was at. And I let God, sort of do like He says, you're clay in His hands. And as the potter, I allowed Him to sort of mold me. So I'd be more attentive. I'd read the word a lot. I'd read a whole lot of devotionals. I'd watch sermons. I'd watch very Christian-based sort of videos on YouTube. I'd watch motivational stuff. And I remember I started watching a lot of men. My favorite top 5 people that I watched who motivated me, inspired me, and educated me on YouTube was one, Iman Gadzi, or Gaji. I don't know how he pronounces his surname, he's Russian. And then it was Jim Rohn. If you know Jim Rohn and how he just helps you gather your life together. Then the third one, crazy enough, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is, I think, an amazing human being. And I think he's very strong intellectually and just mentally. I feel like he's a strong human. And I feel like he's a great example of what men can be, but that's another story for another day, because I know some people like, you know, sort of like don't agree with who Andrew Tate is, but I feel like men are supposed to be like that, and I feel like he's one of the greatest and rarest example of what a human would be like if he was mentally strong and had complete control over their lives instead of external factors controlling how they are, how they behave, what they do. And then who else was I watching? Jordan Peterson. Then I was watching Jordan Peterson. We know that man is an intellectual, and for me, beyond being an intellectual, I feel like he's very, very wise. And I actually relate to him more than I relate to a lot of other people I look up to. I feel like we think alike. He processes things the way that I process things. And then there's the fifth one. I can't remember the fifth person, but by the time I edit this, if I remember, I'll insert the fifth person. But there are 5 men I've been listening to, and those have been helping me a great deal with just how to deal with life, how to process things, how to, you know, when you want something, how to go for it. And crazy enough, these men have also been teaching me how to tap into my feminine energy and, you know, just the femininity that we are losing gradually with time because of the type of advice we are getting socially and because of the extreme feminist movement. Some who I feel are misguided in a way, you know, when the intention is good, but because there's no knowledge or there's no wisdom behind it, then you become misguided, and then your fight does more damage than it actually does good. So I feel like these men really have done a great job in gathering me back to what actually being a feminine woman is about and how to go about it in a healthy way. And because of patriarchy, a lot of men are shut down. Like, I'm not gonna listen to a man tell me about how to be a woman. But I'm telling you, I feel like the opposite sex holds up a mirror of what the other sex is supposed to be seeing about themselves. And I feel like listening to men has been so beneficial for me in growing and becoming this woman. Also, the other lesson that I learned is, you know what, be decisive. Just because you're feeling confused, it doesn't mean you're confused. You're just entering a space that you're not used to, number one, a space that you're also trying to sort of like adapt to like this new you. Be decisive about things. Know what you want and know what you don't want. Be decisive about who you want to be. Be decisive about, you know what, I'm not gonna attend such events or these spaces anymore. They're not good for me. And be decisive about that. Or be decisive about what you want to do, and who you are. Last one that I gathered was being patient. Time is an element that I feel most of us as humans don't really understand. For me, I view time as being in a capsule. And I view it this way because biblically that's how time is explained by God. Because God is outside of time, like he's not governed by time. He's in eternity past and eternity future. And he has placed us in this capsule called time, where he's refining our character and, you know, refining us and getting us ready to step outside of this capsule called time into eternity, which will play out in heaven and in new earth. How I view time is heavily based on that. And I feel like even though we are pressed for time, whereby the Bible teaches us to number our days, we have also been allocated a time because of an all-knowing God, that we actually have time to fix certain things and, you know, be patient with certain things. So I think it's a beautiful little equation that we need to figure out, where you know your days are numbered, okay, and you don't waste time, but you're patient because you have been given time. You are in this capsule, this dimension of time, and you have been given time. And so every situation that you give it time. And I realized how impatient I was with this change that I was going through. I was like, no, I need to be achieving this. I need to be doing this. I need to be focused on this. There are these dreams and these goals are put in place. And you know what? Time is running out. And I had to learn, and leaning on God actually was the one that really, really helped me say, no, I've given you this time to transition into this human being that I want you to be, not only for the purpose that I've given you that you need to accomplish, because I'm preparing you for your purpose, but as well for the things that you asked for. You asked for certain things, and the Zoe I'm looking at now will not be able to handle those things. So it's essential for you to let me help you transition into the girl who will be able to manage those things. So looking at time was like a preparation process for me. So it's not like you've been cut out from participating in life and achieving and running. It's basically a preparation process, and that's what time affords you. Time affords you to change and adjust certain things about yourself that weren't going to help you achieve what you need to achieve. It's been quite a weird journey. So not only have things internally been changing, but also externally. I mean, I don't know if you realize, but I just look a bit more healthier. The reason I even look healthier is because I just decided to be more plant-based and give more time, to the health aspect of my life. So I started eating more veggies and fruits, started taking vitamins, started drinking more herbs, and just the overall look at my health. I started taking my health very seriously, started looking at how I eat, started looking at the things that I think, because they cause anxiety, and anxiety affects your body. There's a lot of things that changed about me that I had to consider. And I think utilizing this time helped me get into that, because I started doing research. I remember I also made like health goals in terms of how I'm gonna go to a dermatologist. Like I had skin problems, started having skin problems because of what I was going through. Like I went through a very difficult time in my life. A life-altering change happened in my life. And I think that was what propelled this space of transitioning that I went through. And I remember saying to myself, you know what, I'm going through such a difficult time, and generally what I will do, I would resort to bad behaviors to help me cope. So I remember I made this decision. I was like, actually, I'm not gonna rely on anything external to help me go through this. Like I'm not gonna lean on anything. I'm not gonna use a crutch. And normally our crutches look like maybe drinking. I remember when I was younger, every time something bad would happen to me, drinking would help me. And let me be honest with you, and I think it's time we are real. Drinking helps you release for a bit of time, Even the Bible talks about give strong drink to the one who's depressed and going through the most. I'm paraphrasing. I'll insert the verse here. And drinking does help, alleviate when things go deep. Because I swear, guys, what happened to me was so deep. And normally I'd even fall into depression. Then depression would cause for me to have ulcers. Then my body would take a toll. Next thing you know, I'm always in hospital, sick, getting attended to. And I was like, I know this is a life-altering situation I'm dealing with, but I am not gonna lean on anything. Sometimes it even looks like people will go out a lot. Like you never wanna be by yourself to deal with what you're dealing with, to deal with the trauma or whatever your life has hit you with. Some other people, it looks like smoking, taking drugs, unfortunately. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I actually want to lean on Christ. Christ is going to be my drug. Christ is going to be my party. Christ is going to be my strong drink. I was like, I want to make sure whatever the lesson this struggle is bringing, I'm going to pass with flying colors. So this is why I resorted to healthy measures. So I changed my diet completely, started taking vitamins and herbs. I started going to gym, like something I was never strong at. If you know me, you know Zoe, like never used to do gym. And I think that was brought on because I've got such great genes that I got from my parents that I didn't grow up really being overweight and things like that. The only thing that really affected my weight and gave me pimples was when I wasn't okay mentally. Something was, stressing me, straining me, a struggle, a trauma of sorts. But with food, I was not bothered with that. So half the time, I never needed to gym, so I never built that muscle or that discipline for gym. So having to build that when I'm older was ridiculously hard. Like, it was so hard. I remember, I think it took 5 years for me to get to a point where now I'm going to gym, like mentally I'm there and ready for the commitment, because gym is not about taking your body there and exercising. Gym is everything mental, from the discipline of waking up and going to the gym when you don't want to the discipline of pushing those weights at more reps than your body can. Everything is mental about gym. Like, I think I'll show you a few clips of me at gym. I literally will always be telling my trainer, okay, let me get my mind right, because if I don't get my mind right, then I'm not going to be able to do this certain exercise well. I changed a lot of that. I changed friends. I changed the people that I was interacting with. Bruh, I have to be intentional in choosing the people who get to be in my space, the people who get to engage me, the people who get to open their mouth and feed my mental gates. Mental gates are always closed, and certain people are chosen to enter that space. From choosing what I consume on social media. Yeah. That's a very dangerous place, because you're always scrolling, taking in anything and everything. I had to go on a diet with that, you know, to the type of music that I listen to. The hardest part, the hardest of all of them, is the control of my mind, the type of thoughts that I allow to govern my mind. Guys, that was the hardest. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm still fighting that battle right now, where your mind thinks about certain things and that thing is not good for you. It's not good to put you in a space that you want to be in or need to be in, and you have to fight yourself to, like, no, we are not thinking about this. This is what you're thinking about. So this whole process helped me learn so much about myself, my weaknesses, my strengths. Nah, guys, nah. This process is so deep. But the depth of it is what shows me that I'm gonna come out on the other end being a superhuman. I am gonna be so Super Saiyan in my humanness. Like, I'm even scared of what I'm gonna turn out into being. And I feel like every time you change for the good, you don't change only for yourself, you also change for other people. So yeah, that's what I learned, and that's what I've been going through. But in the midst of that, what I missed was YouTube. I actually realized I love creating content, and this is why I'm back here. And I feel like my content is going to be different because I'm different. I feel like the content of my channel is going to be more informative than before. I feel like there's going to be a whole lot more growth and wisdom given. Obviously, I'm still going to travel. I still love traveling. I still love exploring spaces. But I feel like there's going to be more growth in this channel than anything else, because my channel has to definitely reflect who I am, because if it's not reflecting who I am, then I'm just putting out fake content for you guys. So yeah, let me not ramble for too long. I am in a good space now. Some days are harder than the others, but I feel like I've come over the hump of what had transpired in my life to lead me to such a huge change. And I'm happy. I feel like I'm a bit more happy. A lot of things are shifting and changing, and I'm adapting to that. But that is a journey I'm willing to travel on. Yeah, it's a beautiful space that I'm in. And I hope you enjoy this content, and I hope you come back next week. I'm gonna try step up my game with my editing, because that's the most favorite part of creating content, editing. Because editing feels like an art piece. It's like you have a clean canvas and then you put things together to make this beautiful picture come together. And this is why I enjoy editing so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video with someone who you might feel maybe is going through changes and they feel the way that I do. Let's see each other next week or on the other side, because also I don't know if I'll have time to edit with everything that has changed in my life. Like, so much has changed in the background. I'm not saying much because I am quite a private person, but I'm going to try and share what I can share that helps, what I can share that will help you, or you know, will be in alignment with what I'm trying to do with my channel. So have yourself a great evening, a great morning, or a great day.